NBA with the NBA Finals coming to an end and the NBA season coming to an end after the Denver Nuggets beat the Miami Heat 94-89. The Nuggets win the series 4-1. It's the Nuggets' first title in team history. For the Heat, Jimmy Butler, he struggled. He had 21 points, 5 assists on the night. Nikola Jokic, he took home the Finals MVP. He had 28 points, 16 rebounds in Game 5. Michael Porter Jr. had 16 points, shot 7 of 17 from the floor. Here's some post-game yakety yak from the Nuggets after their first title in team history.
All the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the dedication, all culminated with us winning a championship. But I got news for everybody out there. We're not satisfied with one. We want more. We want more.
It's a good feeling when you know that you did something that nobody believes, and just it was just us. It's just the organization that the Nuggets believe in us. Every player believe in each other, and I think that's the most important thing.
I mean, Nikola, he led us all playoffs with his passing some games, scoring other games. This was a historic run. I don't know how you could say he's not the best big man ever, really. Like, he's one of the all-time great basketball players.
Every real hooper, wants to be on this stage and playing the game and be in this moment. So see it full circle, going from my rehab, not being able to walk, go up the stairs, like not just for a month or two, you know what I'm saying? It was for a long time. And a lot of different things going through my head, a lot of tears, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and real ones, just to see it full circle and have total belief in myself, have the team have total belief in me, people back home have total belief in me. That's all I could ever ask for. And just to see like this is amazing.
That was some of the post-game reaction from the Denver Nuggets. So the Denver Nuggets, this is the most seasons played at the time of the first NBA title. It was 47 seasons for the Nuggets before their first NBA championship. Previously, it was the Cleveland Cavaliers with 46 seasons played at the time of their first NBA title. And the 1989 Detroit Pistons, it was 41 seasons played at the first of their NBA title. And a couple of firsts for the Nuggets this season. The Nuggets became the first. This was the first time there was a season with the best record in the conference. It was a Nuggets' first playoff series sweep in the conference finals. It was the Nuggets' first time reaching the NBA Finals. Again, took 47 seasons and their first NBA championship in franchise history. So when it comes to the Denver Nuggets and them winning their first title in franchise history, the first thing I think about when I think about the Denver Nuggets, I think about the dynamic duo with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Let's start off with Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic was the NBA Finals MVP, and he was the best player in the NBA Finals, and he was the best player throughout the entire Denver Nuggets playoff run. In the NBA Finals, Jokic, he averaged 30 points per game on 58% shooting from the floor, had 14 rebounds and 7 assists per game, one of the most dominant performances from a big man in NBA history. And coming into the playoffs, Joel Embiid had won the NBA MVP. And I was one of those people, I don't mind admitting it, that said I would take Embiid over Jokic because Embiid had won the NBA MVP. I thought last year he could have possibly won the award, but I felt like for sure this year, Joel Embiid deserved to be the NBA MVP in the regular season. And so going into the playoffs, I had the expectation that I wanted to see what Nikola Jokic was going to be able to do with Jamal Murray back in the mix and with the full squad at his disposal. Because in previous years in the playoffs, Jamal Murray, he's missed the last 2 postseasons, and I'm going to get to him here in a second. But the Nuggets haven't been at full strength the last 2 years in the playoffs. So I didn't really judge Nikola Jokic in the postseason because he didn't have his full supporting cast. So I want to see with his full supporting cast and Michael Malone as his head coach and the Nuggets being healthy, I want to see what Nikola Jokic was made of. And boy, did he have a tremendous postseason. This is one of the best postseason runs I can remember from a big man standpoint. Like, I think about how dominant Shaq was in his era. I think about how dominant Kareem was in his era. The Mr. Big Fundamental, Tim Duncan himself. You got to throw Nikola Jokic's performance in the playoffs this year with the rest of those big men's performances. Like, when it comes to best centers of all time, I think with this performance in the postseason, Nikola Jokic has elevated himself to being in rare air and in those conversations with some of the best big men in NBA history. I mean, this year in the postseason, Nikola Jokic, he had 600 points. That was ranked first in the NBA. He had 269 rebounds. That was ranked first in the NBA. 190 total assists. That was ranked first in the NBA. And he's the first in NBA history to lead the playoffs in all three categories in points, rebounds, and assists. And the thing is with Jokic, unlike Kareem, who had the skyhook, unlike Shaq, who was the most dominant player in NBA history, Jokic does it a different way. Jokic is able to distribute the basketball, and I think he's the best big man as far as passing ever. Like, there's never been a big man who could pass the way Jokic can pass the basketball. I mean, there are times where Jokic is passing the basketball like he's a point guard, and he's able to rebound the basketball and lead the fast break for the Denver Nuggets. He's able to lead the charge and pass the basketball to teammates and get them in their correct spots, and his passes are pinpoint passes right on the money. So he's different than previous centers that we saw in previous eras because he's doing it in a different way. Usually we see players like LeBron James and even Kobe and Jordan who have all-around games where they're able to score and they're able to distribute the basketball, you know, as a passer. We don't usually see centers being able to pass the way that he's able to pass. And so with him winning his NBA Finals MVP, he already previously had 2 NBA MVPs on his resume. Now, these are the players who have 2 NBA MVPs and 1 Finals MVP on their resume. Tim Duncan, Steph Curry, Giannis, Larry Bird, Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kareem, and now you can officially add Nikola Jokic as being one of those players, one of those greatest players of all time who have 2 NBA MVPs and an NBA Finals MVP on his resume. It was a sensational performance from Nikola Jokic, and I think he is the undisputed best player currently in the NBA. He's the best player in the NBA, and I feel like a fool disrespecting this man, saying Joel Embiid was better than him heading into the playoffs. He proved me wrong, and he proved a lot of other people wrong as well. Now, when it comes to Jamal Murray, I'm so happy for Jamal Murray because 3 years ago, Jamal Murray tore his ACL and he was depressed and upset because he was hurt and he wasn't able to help the Denver Nuggets compete for an NBA championship. And Michael Malone has even talked about how after Jamal Murray suffered his ACL injury, he went to Michael Malone and he said, man, I'm damaged goods. You guys are probably going to trade me. Like, I'm no longer going to be a great player in the NBA. Like, I'm not going to be able to help the team moving forward. And Michael Malone told Jamal Murray, you're not going anywhere. You are one of ours. Like, and so listening to Jamal Murray in his post-game press conference, you saw him tear up with the trophy presentation. You can tell that this was a very, very emotional moment for Jamal Murray, because he's had some dark moments when he was dealing with his ACL injury and going through his rehab, trying to get back to playing at a high level. He had a sensational finals performance. So I'm happy for Nikola Jokic, because Nikola Jokic proved that he is the best player in the NBA, the undisputed best center in the NBA. I'm happy for Michael Malone winning his first NBA championship as a head coach. I'm happy for the Denver Nuggets organization as a whole winning their first NBA championship in franchise history. But there is no one who I'm more happier for than Jamal Murray, considering his path to get here and what he had to go through in his journey coming back from his ACL injury. In the finals, Jamal Murray, he averaged 26 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 7 assists per game. He was a true Robin to Nikola Jokic in this NBA finals. And throughout the entire playoff run for the Denver Nuggets overall, he was sensational. So I couldn't be more happier for him. And in game 5 specifically, I thought Michael Porter did a great job. He did a great job. He had 17 points in game 5, shot 7 of 17 from the floor. He wasn't able to really shoot well from 3. He only shot 1 of 6 from 3-point range. He struggled from 3 in the NBA finals, but I thought he did a great job in game 5 specifically, getting to the rim and getting into the interior and not settling for jump shots. You saw him get into the interior and try to get to the rim and get easier shots to be able to help the Nuggets and contribute from a scoring perspective. So I thought Michael Porter was great as well. Bruce Brown, he had a tremendous finals performance as well. He had a great game 4 performance. In game 5, Bruce Brown had 10 points. He didn't shoot well from the floor, but he had 6 rebounds. Also, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's now a 2-time NBA champion. He had 11 points in game 5. So I feel like the Denver Nuggets overall as a team, you know, they are led by Nikola Jokic. He's their best player, and their Robin and second best player is Jamal Murray. But give credit to those role players who and that supporting cast. You have to have a great supporting cast in order to be able to win championships. Jordan Pippen, they had Rodman, they had Harper, they had Cartwright, okay? Kobe and Shaq had Derek Fisher and Rick Fox. You know, they had role players to help them during their championship journey. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray also had significant role players, and the supporting cast was tremendous. Bruce Brown, KCP, Christian Braun as well. Aaron Gordon, he had only 4 points in game 5, but remember Aaron Gordon's great performance in game 4? Because remember, game 4, Jokic and Murray struggled. They didn't play great, but Bruce Brown had a great fourth quarter performance. Aaron Gordon had a great performance throughout the entire game. And then in game 4 of the Western Conference Finals, Aaron Gordon was sensational in that game. Also, Aaron Gordon was a star in Orlando. He was leading that Orlando Magic team as a number 1 option. Give Aaron Gordon credit, because he was able to come to the Denver Nuggets and he took a diminished role and he thrived in that diminished role. And now he won his first NBA championship and captured an NBA championship. So they had tremendous help from their supporting cast. And when you look at teams who were able to win championships and their record, the Denver Nuggets were 16-4 on their playoff run this year, 16-4. Now you could look at other teams and their best playoff record in the last 30 years. The 2017 Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant, with Steph Curry, they were 16-1. The 01 Lakers with Kobe and Shaq, 15-1. And the Spurs, 1999, they were 15-2. Jordan's Bulls in 96 were 15-3. And Tim Duncan's Spurs in 07 was 16-4. So the Denver Nuggets going 16-4 in the playoffs on their championship run is one of the more impressive runs I can remember in NBA history. It really, really is. It really, really is. So, man, shout out to the Denver Nuggets. Shout out to the entire organization for being able to win an NBA championship, and specifically their two best players, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, they are the only NBA duo in NBA history to average 25, 5, and 5 during a postseason run. The only duo in NBA history to average 25, 5, and 5. Nikola Jokic, he averaged 30 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, 10 assists per game on the Nuggets playoff run. Jamal Murray averaged 26 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 7 assists per game during their playoff run. So impressive by Jokic and Murray. And one more stat for you. This is the most playoff points per game by a title-winning duo in NBA history. In 01, Kobe and Shaq total points per game average was 60 points per game. In 2017, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, their total points per game average was 57 points per game. Jokic and Murray total points per game average was 56 points per game. So they are definitely one of the more dynamic duos in NBA history. And last thing before I go to my next topic, last thing I want to say about the Nuggets. The Nuggets proved that you don't need 3 stars to win an NBA championship. For a long time in the NBA, you needed 2 great stars to win an NBA championship. We witnessed Jordan and Pippen. We witnessed Kobe and Shaq. And then we went to an era where teams were trying to construct teams to where they had 3 stars to win an NBA championship. We saw the Miami Heat. They brought in LeBron James. They brought in Chris Bosh and paired them up with Dwayne Wade. We saw the Golden State Warriors bring in a Kevin Durant and team Kevin Durant up with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And so the Denver Nuggets did it the old-fashioned way. They did it the old-fashioned way, by drafting the players that they have on their team and having a dynamic duo with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. They prove you don't need to have 3 stars to win an NBA championship. You just need 2 stars and a great supporting cast and a great head coach to be able to win an NBA championship, to be one of the best teams in the NBA and potentially be a dynasty. So I had to throw that out there. They drafted well, and this team was not built through free agency. This team was built through the draft, and they did it the old-fashioned way. And one more person I want to shout out before I move on, Michael Malone. The Nuggets were patient with Michael Malone. This is the longest tenure head coaches in NBA history with a single team before winning a championship. Red Auerbach, he had 7 years as the Boston Celtics head coach before he won his first NBA championship. Only Pat Riley had more seasons before he won his first championship and longest tenure head coaches. So Michael Malone had 8 seasons as a Nuggets head coach before he was able to win his first championships. And we know in the NBA, these teams are not patient with head coaches. We just saw Monty Williams get fired by the Phoenix Suns after he had led them to an NBA Finals appearance. He was an NBA Coach of the Year as well. They fired him the Lakers fired Frank Vogel, and he had won an NBA championship in the bubble with the Lakers. The Milwaukee Bucks, after one bad playoffs for Mike Budenholzer, the Bucks fired Mike Budenholzer. So we know in the NBA, these teams don't practice patience. These NBA owners want to win now. And so for the Denver Nuggets to remain patient with Michael Malone, it shows you the caliber of the organization that they are. So shout out to Michael Malone and shout out to the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic in the city of Denver for winning their first NBA championship in franchise history. Happy for the Denver Nuggets and happy for those players and that coaching staff as well.